What if the ordinary 1978 penny sitting in your change jar is hiding a mistake that collectors would pay serious money to own? Before you spend another cent, look closely at that tiny coin, because one detail can separate a common penny from a fascinating mint error, and the truth about the so-called $1,001,978 penny may surprise you. Today, we're examining the 1978 Lincoln Memorial cent with no mint mark. You'll learn what that blank space under the date really means, which features can make a 1978 penny valuable, what mistakes collectors often make, and why condition matters far more than most people realize. And stay with me because near the end, I'll show you the single check that could tell you whether your penny deserves a second look. The date says 1978. Lincoln is on the front. The memorial is on the back. And underneath the date, there is no letter. That blank spot is not automatically a rare error. In fact, this is the first major myth you need to understand. A 1978 penny without a mint mark is normally a Philadelphia issue. Philadelphia produced more than 5.5 billion business strike cents that year, so the absence of a mint mark by itself does not make the coin rare. And here comes the first pattern interrupt. Don't confuse no mint mark with mint mistake. For a normal 1978 Philadelphia cent, no mint mark is exactly what you should expect. The Denver version carries a D, while San Francisco produced proof cents carrying an S. So if your 1978 penny has nothing under the date, you haven't automatically discovered a fortune. But that doesn't mean you should put it back in the jar. Because the real story begins with condition, errors, and unusual varieties. Take a close look at Lincoln's portrait. Is the coin heavily worn? Are the highest points of Lincoln's hair and cheeks smooth from circulation? Has the original reddish copper color disappeared? If so, you're probably holding a common coin worth around face value, perhaps a little more to the right collector. Now imagine the opposite. The coin looks almost untouched. The surfaces still have strong original red color. The lettering is crisp. Lincoln's hair has sharp detail. The memorial building on the reverse is clean and well-defined. There are few marks, if any. Suddenly, we're talking about a different category. High-grade 1978 cents can bring meaningful premiums, especially when they receive strong professional grades and retain their original red color. Published market data places exceptional examples far above the value of ordinary circulated cents, with top-grade pieces reaching thousands of dollars in some auction records. But wait. This is where online videos often make a dangerous leap. A headline might say, 1978 penny worth $1 million. That sounds incredible. It also needs context. There is no credible evidence that an ordinary 1978 no mint mark Lincoln cent is routinely worth $1 million simply because it has no mint mark. A $1 million claim should never be accepted without a documented, authenticated sale and a very specific reason for the price. So where could enormous value come from? The answer is a genuinely extraordinary error, an ultra-rare variety, exceptional condition, or some combination of factors. And that is why you should inspect the coin instead of trusting the headline. Here's your next test. Turn the penny over. Study the reverse carefully. Look at the words 1 cent and United States of America. Check the memorial, the columns, the rim, and the lettering. You're searching for something that looks genuinely wrong, not damage caused after the coin left the mint. True mint errors happen during manufacturing. A blank planchet can be wrong. A coin can be struck off-center. A die can create unusual doubling. A planchet can be clipped. In rare circumstances, a cent can even be struck on a planchet intended for another denomination. And now we reach one of the most interesting possibilities connected with 1978 cents. Wrong planchet errors. Imagine a cent design being struck onto a blank intended for a dime. The result can look dramatically different. The weight, diameter, color, and thickness may all raise questions. Authentic examples of unusual planchet errors can attract strong collector interest, and documented auction results show that spectacular 1978 errors can sell for hundreds or even more depending on rarity and condition. But don't start weighing every penny and assuming a strange number means instant wealth. You need confirmation. For a normal 1978 copper cent, the weight should be around 3.11 grams. If your coin is dramatically different, that is worth investigating. But damaged coins, altered coins, and inaccurate household scales can create false alarms. Here's another hidden clue. Now look at the color. A bright red appearance can be a positive sign when it is original mint color. But never polish or clean the coin to make it brighter. That could destroy the natural surface and reduce its collector value. This is one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. They find an old penny, scrub it until it shines, and accidentally turn a potentially collectible coin into a damaged example. Leave it alone. If you think you found something unusual, place the coin in a safe holder and get an expert opinion. Now let's talk about the $1 million number. Could a 1978 penny theoretically be associated with an extraordinary price under extremely unusual circumstances? A coin with a unique, authenticated error and extraordinary provenance could command a dramatic premium. But calling a normal no-mint mark 1978 penny a $1 million coin is misleading. The realistic lesson is much more exciting. The value isn't in the missing letter. The value is in what else is happening on the coin. So before you give up on your 1978 penny, perform this quick inspection. Check the date. Check beneath the date. Check Lincoln's portrait. Check the lettering. Flip it over and inspect the reverse. Look for genuine doubling, dramatic off-center striking, clips, unusual planchet characteristics, or other manufacturing abnormalities. Then check the weight with a precise scale. If something looks extraordinary, don't clean it, don't scratch it, don't bend it, and don't sell it to the first person who makes a big promise. Get it examined. Because the difference between a 1-cent coin and a valuable collectible is sometimes incredibly small, but it has to be real. So, how much is your 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny actually worth? If it's a typical circulated example, probably around 1 cent with little premium. If it's uncirculated, especially with strong original red color, the value can rise into dollars or more depending on grade. Exceptional certified examples can reach hundreds or thousands, while genuine major errors can command substantial premiums. But $1 million? Don't assume it. Make the coin prove it. That simple habit can save you from overlooking a genuine collectible hiding in plain sight. And that's the real treasure hunt. The next time you're sorting change, don't just look at the year. Look at the details. A coin can be common in millions of examples and still become fascinating when one tiny manufacturing mistake changes everything. Now I want to hear from you. Do you have a 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark? Check it right now. Look beneath the date, inspect both sides, and if you notice anything unusual, take a clear photo and compare it with trusted references before making a decision. You might not have a $1 million penny, but you could have something worth far more than 1 cent. And that is exactly why old coins deserve a second look. Subscribe for more hidden coin values, rare mint errors, surprising auction records, and simple ways to spot potentially valuable change before someone else does. Your next discovery could be sitting in a jar you've ignored for years. Stop before you spend that 1979 Lincoln penny. Because one tiny detail could turn an ordinary 1-cent coin into a collector's dream, or expose a $1 million rumor that sounds far better than the truth. If you have a 1979 penny with a small d beneath the date, pull it out right now. In this video, we're going to uncover what the 1979 Lincoln cent really is, what makes some examples interesting, which mistakes can fool collectors, and why claims of $1 million value need a very careful second look. Picture the scene. You're sorting through an old jar of change. Pennies, nickels, quarters, maybe a few coins that have been sitting untouched for decades. Then you spot the date, 1979. Underneath it is a tiny letter D. Suddenly, a question appears in your mind. Did you just find something valuable? Here's where the mystery begins. The 1979 Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint, and millions were produced. That means the date and mint mark alone do not make the coin rare. But that does not mean every 1979 penny is worthless. Condition, errors, varieties, and unusual minting characteristics can dramatically change what collectors are willing to pay. And there is one mistake people make over and over again. They see a headline claiming a 1979 penny is worth $1 million, and they assume every coin from that year has the same potential. That is not how coin values work. Let's slow down and inspect the coin. On the front, you should see Abraham Lincoln facing right. The word liberty appears near the left edge, and I in God we trust sits above his portrait. The date 1979 appears in front of Lincoln, with a small D mint mark below the date area. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the familiar Lincoln Memorial design used on cents from 1959 through 2008. Now look closely. A normal 1979 cent is common. Most circulated examples are worth only a little more than face value, if anything. Even nice uncirculated pieces generally do not suddenly become million-dollar coins simply because they have a D. So where does the giant value claim come from? This is where things get interesting. Rare coin stories often mix together three very different ideas: a normal coin, a genuine mint error, and an exceptional auction record. Once those categories get blended together, an ordinary penny can suddenly be described online as a million-dollar coin. But a headline is not an appraisal. If someone tells you your 1979 penny is worth $1 million, the first question should be simple. What exact feature makes it worth that amount? Is it a verified mint error? Is it an extremely rare variety? Is it an extraordinary condition grade? Is there a documented auction sale proving that exact type reached that price? Without answers, the million-dollar number is just a claim. And there's another trap. People sometimes confuse the 1979 cent with other famous Lincoln cent varieties from different years. The Lincoln cent series contains genuine rarities, famous doubled dies, dramatic errors, and scarce condition rarities. But you cannot transfer the value of one rare coin to another just because they share the same design. That distinction could save you from a very expensive mistake. Now, grab your 1979 penny and examine the mint mark. The D should be part of the coin's original design, not a random mark scratched into the surface. Look for damage around the date and mint mark. A shiny, perfectly smooth area can sometimes be the result of polishing, cleaning, or alteration rather than a rare minting event. Here's another pattern interrupt. Don't clean the coin. If you think you found something unusual, leave it exactly as it is. Scrubbing, dipping, rubbing, or polishing can destroy original surfaces and reduce collector appeal. A dirty coin can be examined. A damaged coin cannot easily be restored to its original state. Now check the overall condition. Does Lincoln's hair show sharp detail? Are the fields clean and original looking? Are there scratches, spots, stains, or signs of circulation? Does the coin still have strong mint luster? Condition matters because collectors pay premiums for coins that survive in exceptional shape. But even here, there's a catch. A coin looking perfect to your eyes does not automatically mean it deserves a top grade. Professional grading services examine surfaces, strike quality, luster, marks, color, and other characteristics. One tiny contact mark can separate an ordinary uncirculated coin from a much more desirable example. And then we reach the most exciting possibility: a genuine error. Mint errors can happen when something goes wrong during production. Depending on the error, a coin may be struck off-center, struck multiple times, have a major die problem, or show another unusual characteristic. Dramatic, authentic errors can attract serious collector interest. But remember this rule: unusual does not automatically mean valuable. A coin with damage from a machine, vice, tool, chemical, or another object can look spectacular while having little numismatic value. That is why authentication matters. So, could your 1979 penny actually be worth $1 million? Based on the known nature of the 1979 Lincoln cent, you should not assume that number. A normal 1979 cent is not $1 million coin. Claims of a seven-figure value require extraordinary proof, and you should never treat an internet listing, social media post, or unsourced video as evidence of a confirmed sale. That may sound disappointing, but here's the good news. You don't need $1 million claim to make coin hunting exciting. The real treasure is finding something genuinely unusual in money that everyone else ignores. Imagine discovering a major mint error in a box of old cents. Imagine finding a coin with an authenticated variety that most people would have spent without thinking twice. Those moments are exactly why collectors keep searching. And there's one more thing you should do before deciding your coin is ordinary. Compare it with other 1979 cents. Put several coins side by side under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. Look at the date, mint mark, lettering, rim, portrait, and reverse. You're not trying to invent a rarity. You're trying to spot a feature that is clearly different from normal examples. Take clear photographs too. A close-up of the date and mint mark, the full obverse, the full reverse, and any unusual area can make a later evaluation much easier. If you think you have a genuine error or rare variety, consider getting an opinion from a reputable numismatist or professional grading service. The goal is verification, not excitement. Because the biggest danger in coin collecting is not missing a fortune. It's believing a fortune exists without evidence. The 1979 D Lincoln cent is a perfect example. The coin is old enough to attract attention, common enough to appear in collections and jars everywhere, and interesting enough that unusual examples can deserve a closer look. But the D mint mark does not magically turn a 1-cent coin into $1 million treasure. And if you are wondering what a typical example is actually worth, think small before you think spectacular. A circulated 1979 D cent generally stays close to face value, while better uncirculated pieces can bring more depending on grade and eye appeal. Truly valuable examples are the exceptions, not the rule. The difference between 10 cents, $10, and a much larger amount is usually found in something specific that can be identified and verified. This is why experienced collectors never begin with the price. They begin with the evidence. First identify the coin, then identify the variety or error, then evaluate condition. Finally, look for reliable market records for comparable examples. That sequence protects you from inflated listings and viral rumors. So if somebody offers you $1 million estimate based only on the date and D mint mark, stop and ask for documentation. A real rarity should have a real explanation, and a serious valuation should have real evidence behind it. So here's your challenge. Go find your 1979 D Lincoln pennies. Check the date. Check the D. Check the condition. Look for real minting abnormalities, not scratches or damage. And most importantly, don't clean them before you know what you have. If you discover something truly unusual, that is when the story changes. Maybe it isn't worth $1 million. Maybe it's worth only a few cents. Or maybe you found an authentic error that deserves professional attention. That uncertainty is what makes searching so addictive. So tell me in the comments, do you have a 1979 D Lincoln penny? And what does yours look like? Have you ever found an unusual error in your pocket change? And before you spend another old penny, remember this: the most valuable coin in your collection may not be the one with the biggest headline. It may be the one detail you almost missed. Subscribe for more hidden coin mysteries, rare US varieties, and the small details that can make ordinary change worth a second look. What if a penny sitting in your kitchen jar right now could be worth a fortune? And what if the tiny detail separating an ordinary 1984 Lincoln cent from a rare collectible is something most people never notice? Before you spend that penny, look closely, because the 1984 Lincoln penny with no mint mark has become the subject of some very wild claims, including stories of $1 million values. But there is a twist, and it could save you from throwing away something genuinely valuable. Today, we are taking a close look at the 1984 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, what that missing letter actually means, which varieties and errors can matter, and why one famous 1984 mistake gets collectors excited. Most importantly, we are going to separate real coin value from internet hype. So if you have a jar, drawer, old purse, or coffee can full of pennies, keep one nearby. You may want it by the end. First, let's identify the coin. The 1984 Lincoln cent features Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It was struck in large numbers at the Philadelphia Mint, and Philadelphia cents traditionally carry no mint mark. That means a blank space where a D or S might appear is not automatically rare. In fact, millions of ordinary 1984 Philadelphia cents were made. And this is where many penny searches go wrong. People see no mint mark and immediately assume the coin escaped the minting process. Didn't. For Philadelphia cents of this era, no mint mark is normal. So if your 1984 penny has no letter beneath Lincoln's portrait, don't panic and don't assume you found $1 million coin. But don't put it back in the jar yet. There is another question that matters much more. Does your coin show an unusual die variety or minting error? The 1984 Lincoln cent is especially interesting because collectors know about a famous double die variety. On the obverse, some examples show noticeable doubling in Lincoln's ear area. This is often called the 1984 doubled ear variety. And unlike ordinary machine doubling, genuine double die characteristics were created when the die itself was made with a double design. That distinction is critical. Imagine two pennies that look almost identical. One has a little shelf-like distortion caused during striking. The other has genuine doubling built into the die. To a casual observer, both may simply look weird. To a specialist, they can be completely different coins. So grab a magnifying glass and look at Lincoln's ear. But here's the pattern interrupt. Don't stop there. Check the lettering, especially Liberty and the date. Look for shapes that appear doubled in a clear, rounded, separated way rather than flat or smeared. Then examine the reverse. Search for unusual doubling, missing details, cracks, chips, or other signs that the coin may have been struck from a damaged or unusual die. Now comes another surprise. Condition can completely change the conversation. A common 1984 penny found in circulation may be worth only its face value, perhaps a small premium if exceptionally attractive. But an example with strong red color, sharp details, minimal marks, and an important variety can command much more. Collectors often use grades such as MS65, MS66, or higher to describe uncirculated coins, and tiny differences in condition can produce dramatic differences in price. That means two coins from the same year can have completely different values. One could be a 1-cent coin. Another could be a collectible worth hundreds or potentially thousands, depending on the exact variety, grade, certification, and market demand. Now let's address the million-dollar claim. If you've seen a video or social media post saying a 1984 no-mint Lincoln penny is automatically worth $1 million, be extremely careful. There is no reason to treat that headline as proof. A coin is not worth a stated amount simply because someone puts that number in a thumbnail. Real value comes from identifiable rarity, condition, authentication, and actual market transactions. And that is the mystery behind the million-dollar story. The phrase sounds incredible because it takes an ordinary-looking penny and turns it into hidden treasure. But experienced collectors know the real excitement is often more subtle. The valuable discovery may be a specific die variety, a dramatic mint error, or an exceptionally preserved example, not the absence of a mint mark by itself. Here's what you should do if you find a 1984 no-mint penny. First, don't clean it. This is one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. Scrubbing, polishing, soaking, or using chemicals can damage the original surface and reduce collector appeal. A shiny penny is not necessarily a valuable penny. In fact, cleaning can make a potentially collectible coin less desirable. Second, don't sell it based on a random online price. Search for the exact variety and compare completed auction results from reputable sources. Asking prices are not the same as selling prices. Anyone can list a penny online for $1 million. That does not mean anyone will pay it. Third, photograph both sides under good lighting. Use a magnifier and examine the ear, date, lettering, and other design details. If something looks genuinely unusual, consider getting an opinion from a knowledgeable numismatist or a reputable grading service. And here's another detail many people miss. Color matters. Copper cents are commonly described as brown, red-brown, or red. A bright, original red 1984 cent that has remained sharply preserved can be far more desirable than a worn brown example. But color alone does not create rarity. A beautiful ordinary penny is still an ordinary penny. So where could the serious money appear? Think of the value ladder. At the bottom, you have the everyday circulated 1984 Philadelphia cent. It's common and generally worth very little. Move upward, and you may find an attractive uncirculated example with better eye appeal. Higher still, you could encounter a recognized double die variety, especially in strong condition. And then there are unusual mint errors that can become extremely desirable when they are dramatic, authentic, and rare. That is where the real hunt begins. But remember something important. Rarity is not the same as age. A 1984 penny is not ancient. It isn't rare simply because it has been sitting in a drawer for 40 years. Millions of Americans handled these coins. The potential value comes from what is unusual about a particular example. Now imagine this scene. You're sorting pennies after dinner. You find a 1984 cent with no mint mark. First, it looks ordinary. Then you notice something strange around Lincoln's ear. You rotate the coin under the light. The shape doesn't look like a scratch. The doubling seems part of the design. Suddenly, that 1-cent coin deserves a second look. But here's the important reality check. Photographs alone cannot guarantee a variety. Lighting can create shadows. Scratches can imitate doubling. Machine doubling can fool beginners. Even experienced collectors sometimes need professional attribution. That's why authentication matters before you start imagining a life-changing payday. So, what is the maximum value of a 1984 no-mint Lincoln penny? There is no credible basis for saying that an ordinary 1984 Philadelphia cent is worth $1 million. Exceptional 1984 cents with recognized varieties or high-end condition can be valuable, but the exact amount depends on the specific coin. Some genuine examples may bring hundreds or thousands of dollars, while ordinary circulated pieces remain close to face value. That may sound less exciting than a $1 million headline, but honestly, it makes the hunt more interesting. Because you don't need a fantasy price tag to have a treasure hunt. You only need one unusual coin. And the next time someone tells you that every 1984 no-mint penny is a millionaire maker, you'll know exactly what to ask. What variety? What grade? What error? What auction record? Has it actually sold? Those 4 questions can protect you from hype. Now it's your turn. Go find your 1984 pennies. Check beneath Lincoln's portrait. No mint mark is normal for Philadelphia, so don't stop there. Look carefully at the ear. Inspect Liberty. Examine the date. Check the reverse. Look for genuine doubling, major errors, or exceptional preservation. And whatever you do, don't clean the coin before you've had it evaluated. You might find nothing more than a common cent. Or you might discover a variety you never knew existed. And that is exactly why coin collecting remains so addictive. The treasure doesn't always announce itself with a glittering surface or a giant price tag. Sometimes it looks like one forgotten penny at the bottom of a jar. So before you spend that 1984 Lincoln cent, take 10 seconds and look again. Because the most important detail may be hiding in plain sight. If you enjoy discovering the real stories behind America's rare coins, subscribe and stay with us. There are still millions of old coins circulating, and some have mistakes, varieties, and history hiding under the surface. Your next valuable find may already be in your pocket. What if the ordinary 1989 Lincoln penny sitting in your change jar is not worth 1 cent, but could be hiding a clue that sends its value soaring? Before you spend another 1989 penny, stop. There is a detail on this coin that collectors check first, and it takes only a few seconds to find. Today, we're examining the 1989 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent coin with no mint mark, the penny that has inspired some astonishing million-dollar claims online. But here's the part most videos won't tell you. A missing mint mark by itself does not make a 1989 penny worth $1 million. In fact, millions of these coins were made without a mint mark. So why are collectors still interested? Because the real story is not simply the date. It's what might be wrong with the coin. Picture this. You are cleaning out an old drawer. Under a receipt, behind a few buttons, you find a small brown penny dated 1989. Lincoln is facing right. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial. You flip it over and notice there is no letter beneath the date on the front. No D, no S, nothing. Your first thought might be, this must be rare. And that is exactly where the mystery begins. For United States coins, a mint mark can tell you where a coin was produced. A D means Denver. An S generally indicates San Francisco, but Philadelphia pennies from this era normally carried no mint mark. That means a 1989 Lincoln cent without a mint mark is not automatically an error. It is actually the normal Philadelphia version. That single fact changes everything. The Philadelphia Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents in 1989, so finding a no mint mark example is not like finding a needle in a haystack. You may have several sitting in an old jar right now. But don't put it back yet. There are 3 things that can turn an ordinary-looking penny into something much more interesting. Condition, genuine mint errors, and unusual varieties. And the difference can be dramatic. First, look at condition. Most 1989 pennies spent years sliding around pockets, cash registers, coin machines, and junk drawers. Their surfaces can be scratched, stained, dull, or worn. A coin like that usually has little premium over face value. Now imagine the opposite. A 1989 cent that was protected almost immediately after leaving the mint, with brilliant original surfaces, sharp details, and almost no contact marks. That coin enters a completely different collecting category. High-grade coins can bring premiums because condition is scarce even when the date itself is common. And here's a pattern you should remember. Common date does not always mean common condition. The next clue is even more important. Look closely at the lettering, numbers, rim, and design. Do you see anything that looks doubled? Is the lettering unusually distorted? Does the rim appear strangely thick or incomplete? Is Lincoln's portrait showing an obvious abnormal feature? Does the metal look as though something happened during striking? Don't confuse damage with an error. A coin dropped on concrete can develop a flattened rim. A machine can scratch letters. Chemicals can change the color. Someone can deliberately alter a mint mark. None of those automatically creates a valuable mint error. Collectors want evidence that the unusual feature happened during the manufacturing process. This is where the million-dollar rumor needs a reality check. There is no established record showing an ordinary 1989 Philadelphia Lincoln cent with no mint mark selling for $1 million simply because it lacks the mint mark. If you see a video or social media post making that claim, don't assume the number is real. Extraordinary prices require extraordinary proof, such as a documented auction, recognized grading, and a clearly identified rarity. Still, that doesn't mean your penny should be ignored. A genuine, dramatic mint error can be valuable. Major off-center strikes, wrong planchets, severe striking mistakes, and other authenticated errors can attract serious attention. But the exact value depends on the error, condition, authenticity, and what collectors are willing to pay. There is another detail worth understanding. The word penny is a nickname. The official denomination is 1 cent. In 1989, the Lincoln cent was still made primarily from a copper alloy composition over a zinc core, a change that began in 1982. That construction matters because unusual color, weight, or surface appearance can sometimes raise questions about what metal is actually present. But appearance alone is never proof. If a 1989 cent seems suspiciously heavy or light, don't guess. Weight it with an accurate digital scale and compare the result with a normal example. Then examine the edge. A genuine wrong planchet or composition error may show characteristics that ordinary damage cannot explain. Even then, authentication is essential. Another trap is altered coins. Someone can manipulate a common penny and create something that looks dramatic in a photograph. Online listings can also display asking prices rather than completed sales. A seller can list a coin for $1 million, but that does not mean anyone paid $1 million for it. Collectors care about realized prices. That distinction is critical. So whenever you hear a headline claiming a coin is worth hundreds of thousands or even millions, ask one question. Where is the documented sale? If there is no trustworthy auction record, certification, or credible numismatic evidence, treat the claim as speculation, not established value. That one habit can make you a much smarter coin hunter. That protects your collection from hype. Now comes the part that could save you from throwing away a potentially interesting coin. Do not clean it. This is one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. They see a dark penny and think polishing it will make it look better. In reality, cleaning can leave permanent hairlines. Next, use good lighting. Hold the penny under a bright lamp and slowly tilt it. Look at Lincoln's hair, cheek, jaw, the date, the lettering, and the rim. Then inspect the reverse. Check the memorial, the lettering, the columns, and the edge. And here's a simple trick. Compare your coin with another normal 1989 Philadelphia cent. Differences become much easier to spot when you have a reference coin. If you believe you've found a genuine error, don't immediately pay someone online who promises a huge value. Start with reputable numismatic resources and consider professional authentication or grading when the potential value justifies the cost. Now let's return to the question everyone wants answered. How much could a 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny actually be worth? For a normal circulated example, the answer is usually very simple. Around face value, perhaps a small premium depending on condition and the collector market. For a high-grade example, the value can rise, especially if it receives a strong certified grade. For a confirmed major mint error, the story can change dramatically. But $1 million? There is no credible basis for saying that an ordinary 1989 no-mint Lincoln cent is worth that amount. And honestly, that makes the hunt even more exciting. Because now you know what you are really looking for. You are not searching for a magical missing letter. You are searching for something the mint did not intend to happen. Think about how many pennies pass through American hands every year. Most people never examine them. They spend them without looking twice. But collectors know that tiny manufacturing mistakes can sometimes hide in plain sight for decades. That is the real treasure hunt feeling. Maybe your 1989 penny is completely ordinary. That's okay. Maybe it's unusually well preserved. Maybe it has an obvious striking error. Or maybe you simply learned how to separate a viral claim from a genuine numismatic discovery. And that knowledge can save you money. So before you toss that 1989 penny into a tip jar, take 5 seconds. Check the mint mark area. Check the date. Check the rim. Check the lettering. Look for real evidence of a mint-made error. And never assume that no mint mark automatically means rare. Now I want to know what you have. Do you own a 1989 Lincoln penny with no mint mark? Is it worn, bright, uncirculated? Or does it have something unusual that you cannot explain? Tell me what you see in the comments. You might discover that other collectors have noticed the same feature. And remember, the most valuable coin in your collection may not be the one with the oldest date. Sometimes the biggest clue is hiding in a coin everyone else already dismissed. Check your change. Check your jars. Check those old rolls. Because the next unusual penny you find could be worth more than you expect. And if you enjoy uncovering the real stories behind America's everyday coins, subscribe for more hidden value discoveries, surprising mint errors, and rare coins hiding in plain sight. Your next treasure might already be sitting in your pocket. Stop before you spend that penny. If you have a 1995 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, you could be holding a coin with a story that has fooled collectors for decades. And one tiny detail could make the difference between ordinary pocket change and serious money. The 1995 Lincoln penny is one of those coins that looks completely normal at first glance. Lincoln faces right, the date reads 1995, and there may be no letter beneath the date. But here is where things get interesting. A missing mint mark does not automatically make a 1995 penny rare. In fact, millions of 1995 cents were intentionally made without a mint mark. So why do some examples get collectors excited? And where does that $1,000,000 claim you may have heard online actually come from? Stay with me, because by the end, you will know exactly what to look for, what mistakes to avoid, and why condition and errors matter far more than the words, no mint mark. First, let's identify the coin. The 1995 Lincoln cent features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the familiar motto, "In God we trust," above him. Liberty appears beside his portrait, and 1995 sits below. Flip it over and you see the Lincoln Memorial, along with United States of America, 1 cent, and E pluribus unum. Now look directly below the date. Do you see a tiny D? If you do, that coin was struck at Denver. Do you see no letter? That normally means Philadelphia, because Philadelphia cents from this period carried no mint mark. And that is the first major surprise. A 1995 penny without a mint mark is not automatically an error. It is usually the normal Philadelphia issue. That means you should not throw every 1995 no-mint penny into a safe and assume you have a fortune. But don't stop watching yet. The real hunt begins when you examine the coin under good light. Look at Lincoln's hair. Check the cheek. Inspect the jawline. Study the fields around the lettering. A coin that spent years rattling around in pockets can pick up scratches, discoloration, stains, and contact marks. A coin that was protected from circulation can look dramatically different. And condition can change everything. Collectors often use grading scales to describe preservation, and the difference between a heavily circulated cent and an exceptionally sharp, original example can be enormous. On a coin made in large quantities, truly high-grade pieces can become much more interesting than ordinary examples. Now here is another pattern interrupt. Do not clean it. That shiny, polished look might seem attractive to someone unfamiliar with coins, but cleaning can leave scratches or remove the original surface. Professional collectors generally prefer natural, original surfaces. If you think you found something special, leave the coin exactly as it is. But what about the famous $1,000,000 number? This is where you need to separate internet excitement from documented numismatic value. There is no reason to assume a normal 1995 Philadelphia Lincoln cent is worth $1 million simply because it has no mint mark. A claim like that requires extraordinary evidence, such as a genuinely unique error, an extreme condition rarity, or a documented auction result. Without that evidence, calling an ordinary coin a $1,000,000 coin is misleading. Still, that does not mean your search is pointless. Errors can be valuable. Minting is a complicated mechanical process. Blanks are fed through presses. Dies strike designs onto metal, and coins move through counting and packaging equipment at incredible speed. When something goes wrong, the result can sometimes be a collectible mint error. So inspect the date and lettering closely. Look for unusual doubling, dramatic off-center striking, missing design elements, broad strikes, clipped planchets, or other abnormalities. But be careful. Many strange-looking coins are damaged after leaving the mint. A coin that was squeezed, scratched, heated, chemically altered, or hit by another object is not the same thing as a genuine mint error. Here is a simple test. Ask yourself, does the unusual feature look like something that happened during striking, or something that could have happened in a parking lot? That question can save you from wasting money. Now let's talk about another trap, the phrase "no mint mark." On modern U.S. cents, Philadelphia's lack of a mint mark is normal for many dates. People sometimes mistake this normal feature for a missing mint mark error. If a 1995 cent was struck in Philadelphia, seeing no mint letter is exactly what you would expect. So what should make you pause? Extreme condition, a clearly documented mint error, strong, unusual doubling that survives careful examination, or a variety that specialists can authenticate and attribute. And if you think you found one, don't rely on a blurry phone photo and a random online comment. Get clear photographs of both sides, especially the date, lettering, and suspicious area. Compare it with known examples. For potentially valuable pieces, professional authentication and grading can be worth the cost. Now imagine you open an old jar of change. You hear pennies sliding against each other. Most are ordinary. Then one 1995 cent catches the light. It looks unusually sharp. The surfaces seem untouched. You turn it over. You inspect the date. No mint mark. Your heart starts racing. But remember the lesson from this coin. Excitement comes after identification, not before it. The realistic value of a normal circulated 1995 Philadelphia cent is generally modest, often around face value depending on condition and the market. Better preserved examples can bring more, while genuinely rare errors or exceptional certified specimens can command much higher prices. That is why a $1 million claim should be treated as a headline, not a guarantee. If you see a 1995 penny advertised for an enormous amount online, ask one question. Was it actually sold for that amount? An asking price is not a sale price. Anyone can list a coin for $1 million. That does not mean someone paid $1 million for it. And this distinction is one of the biggest secrets in coin collecting. Real value is supported by evidence. Auction records, certified grades, recognized varieties, authentic mint errors, provenance, collector demand. Without those things, a huge number on a listing can be pure fantasy. There is also something fascinating about the 1995 cent itself. It belongs to the final decades of the classic copper-plated zinc Lincoln cent era. The coin is made primarily from a zinc core with a thin copper outer layer. That construction means damage can sometimes expose the underlying metal, creating another reason to inspect unusual surfaces carefully. But again, damage is not rarity. If you find a cent with exposed zinc, corrosion, plating problems caused after circulation, or a strange color, don't instantly assume it is a major error. Coin collecting rewards patience. So grab a flashlight, a magnifying glass, and your old penny jar. Start with the date. Then check the mint mark area. Next, inspect the condition. After that, search for genuine mint-made abnormalities. And finally, compare your discovery against trustworthy references or have it examined by a qualified professional. You might not find a $1 million coin, but you could discover something genuinely collectible, and that is the real thrill. Because the most valuable lesson from the 1995 no-mint Lincoln penny is not that every example is secretly worth a fortune. It is that ordinary-looking coins can contain details most people never notice. And sometimes, the difference between 1 cent and a serious collectible is smaller than the width of a letter. And there is one mistake worth avoiding. Never judge a coin by a photograph online. Lighting can make surfaces look unusual, while shadows can hide details. Even experienced collectors can disagree until a coin is examined in person. If a seller says, rare, error, or $1 million, treat those words as an invitation to investigate, not proof of value. Remember, the best treasure hunters are not people who believe every rumor. They are people who know how to verify a clue. A tiny mark, an unusual strike, and preservation can start an investigation. But documentation turns excitement into knowledge. So before you empty your change jar, check dates carefully. Separate coins, protect surfaces, and learn what makes each issue different. Your next discovery may not make you rich, but it could teach you something. And occasionally, that is how a coin gets found. So tell me this. Do you have a 1995 Lincoln penny with no mint mark sitting in a jar, drawer, or old collection right now? Take it out. Look closely. And if you spot something unusual, don't clean it, don't spend it, and don't let an exciting price tag convince you before the evidence does. There may be no million-dollar treasure hiding in every 1995 penny, but the next coin you check could still surprise you. And that is exactly why you should keep looking. Subscribe for more hidden coin values, rare varieties, and the tiny details that can turn forgotten change into a collector's discovery.